Okay, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining our latest Provident webinar. So this morning, my name is Martin MacNamara, and I'm going to, along with my colleague Roy from mondaycom, we're going to be talking to you today about how to manage remote teams with monday.com. I'm sure many of you, like myself, have experienced over the last several months what it's like to work with remote teams, whether we were doing it before or whether it's been a more recent thing. It's certainly something that's current, and I think is going to be the current situation certainly for a while to come for many of us. So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you some answers as to how we can best manage this. We need to go with some kind of coping with the situation to living with it and making the best with it. So we'll move on there. Next slide, please. So brief agenda for today. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes just explaining for those of you maybe who are not familiar with us, who we are at Provident and why we've chosen to partner with monday.com. Roy is going to introduce you to monday.com and tell you a little bit about the company and how it's growing so rapidly. And then we're going to jump into a demo of the system to show you the action and show you actually how we can help you manage your remote teams with monday.com. Finally, at the end, we'll hopefully have a bit of time for some questions. If you do have any during the webinar, if you can just post them in the Q&A section, we'll do our best to get to them at the end. Obviously, if we don't get to them, don't worry, we'll come back to them, or we'll make contact with you afterwards. And then just, I guess, final bit of housekeeping. We're recording this webinar, and we will send the recording afterwards, so you'll have it all there for you as well. So just briefly, who are we at Provident? What do we do? We've been in business for just over 20 years now. Our head office in Dublin. At least I think it's still there. I haven't seen it now for a good couple of months, but I'm reliably informed the office is still there. Our focus during this time has been primarily on integrating and implementing CRM systems for every type of business, and in terms of users from 5 users to 5,000. So we've a wealth of experience integrating with other systems and adapting systems to match your business requirements. Next slide there. There's no one-size-fits-all system, whether it's CRM or other systems, and we've a proven capability during that time of adapting and implementing systems to match your unique workflows. We take the time to understand your needs, recommend the best solution to implement, and then work with you on an ongoing basis to make sure your users get the most out of the system and it continues to deliver for you. Next slide, please. We're a certified partner with Salesforce, with HubSpot, with Sugar CRM, and of course with monday.com. I think one of the areas where monday.com really excels is post-sale. So a lot of CRM focus is obviously on the pre-sales process, and monday.com can really help deliver on the execution following the sale. So not just for sales teams, but maybe for operations and delivery teams within an organization. Next slide, please. So I think monday.com is a really exciting product we've been working with for a little while now. It's a rapidly developing tool, and I'm delighted to hand you over to Roy now, who's going to tell you a little bit more about monday.com and show you the system in action. So Roy, over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Martin. That was brilliant. Can you just confirm that you can hear me okay before I get started?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem at all.
Thank you so much. Hi, guys. I hope you're doing okay in these crazy times, wherever you may be. My name is Roi Bar On, and I lead all of monday.com's channel partnerships in the UK Nordics. Really happy to be presenting to you guys today. I've been with Monday for about 8 months now and working very closely with ProvidentCRM to provide a better Monday user experience to all of our joint customers in the UK. With that, let's get going. So a little bit about monday.com. Monday.com started its journey in 2012, and the product was officially launched in 2014. The company has more than 600 employees today, and as you can see, we're scaling fast. We plan to get to 700 by the end of 2020. We're a unicorn and then some, and actually the highest valued private Israeli company with its headquarters in Israel today. We have offices, as you can see, in New York, Tel Aviv, Sydney, London, San Francisco, and Miami. We have over 100,000 paying customers of all shapes and sizes across over 180 countries today. Specifically in the UK, as you can see, we have over 10,000 customers, and that number is growing really fast. The UK is actually our second strongest market today, right after North America. And you can see some of the household names, some of the great logos that are customers of monday.com. A cool slide that I wanted to quickly show you guys, this analysis was actually prepared by Goldman Sachs. You're probably familiar with a lot of the companies here. And as you can see, monday.com is one of the fastest growing SaaS companies in the world today. And according to many sources, Monday is one of the fastest growing technology companies in general. So why monday.com? So the future of work, guys, is already here. And we're all using new and advanced technologies at work. We have tools for almost every need today, and there's easy access to those tools now more than ever. As you all know, it's very challenging to sync complex projects across multiple functions and collaborate with other departments that have their own rigid and specific tools built for a single topic. And let's not forget that each department also has its own priorities, goals, and friction points to deal with. And this all results in ill-managed processes, duplication of work, or things simply falling through the cracks. There's just an overall feeling that things are not moving fast enough. And I think these challenges are more evident than ever in these COVID-19 times, following the adjustments that companies had to make to remote working and managing globally dispersed teams and departments. Now, how do organizations try to overcome that friction? Well, it's not always pretty, I'll tell you that. Working with over 100,000 customers today and, company-wide, and a lot of companies that I work with specifically, customers a lot of times, or I'd say companies, tend to sync through long meetings. It could be endless email threads, various collaboration and communication tools, and they also use a lot of non-centralized, painful, non-smart spreadsheets to manage their projects and workflows. A lot of teams also have to wait for IT to integrate and automate processes for them, and they constantly have to realign, restructure, and reallocate. This all results in a loss of precious time, money, and great business opportunities. Additionally, employees are quickly becoming frustrated, they're not held accountable, and they feel stressed and disconnected. So companies need a much better way to turn this operational complexity into simple operations. And this is where monday.com comes in. Monday.com is a SaaS-based work OS, or work operating system, which provides teams and organizations with all the building blocks and tools that they need to confidently plan, run, and track all their projects, core processes, and workflows. Monday.com was designed with the flexibility to fit thousands of use cases across various industries. The platform can really provide the flexibility to build and adapt quickly to any workflow project or process. So it means that instead of predefined workflows, you're free to create your own workflows using the monday.com building blocks. And indeed, we see our customers making the most out of Monday in so many different ways, including, for example, marketing teams that are using it for campaign management and event management. It could be product teams using it to better manage their roadmap. It could be IT and operations. For example, to manage an IT help desk. It could be HR for recruiting and employee onboarding. It could be sales for lead and pipeline management, customer success maybe for managing support tickets, and the list goes on and on. Moreover, since everyone struggles to keep pace with constantly changing requirements and customer needs, while having to deliver and execute at all times, it's really crucial for teams to adapt quickly to any change. With Monday, this becomes much easier as monday.com is very scalable, and you can easily add more teams and more workflows at any time, and it adjusts seamlessly to your shifting needs. As mentioned, with monday.com, you have built-in flexibility to run any project, process, or workflow. Any team can create their own custom application to suit their exact needs. Just choose from dozens of building blocks to shape any workflow in a matter of minutes, really. That's how fast you can build a workflow with Monday. It's easy to break apart and reassemble the workflow according to your changing needs. It's also important to mention that monday.com is code-free. There's no technical skills required. There's no need for IT, no need to recruit someone to manage it. It's very intuitive and onboarding is really simple. Lastly, Monday has built-in capabilities that are well suited for today's remote work environment that we're all living in, which I'll demonstrate in a bit. With that said, guys, let's jump into the platform and see what that's all about. Sorry about that. So this is Monday, guys. Welcome. Before jumping maybe into the workflow, it's important to mention that in these COVID-19 times, employees are required to work remotely now more than ever. And it's crucial for each employee to be able to quickly set their working status. And how can you do that on Monday? Quickly go to your avatar, go to My Profile. And aside from different preferences and notifications that you can change here, you can quickly go to your working status, choose the appropriate working status that's relevant for you, whether you're in the office or working from home. And this allows managers and team members to stay on track with the working statuses of all their users in the boards or account. And I will show you later on how you can also get a high-level overview of the statuses across the account. With that said, let's start jumping really into the platform and understanding its structure. So as our first layer in Monday, we have what we call the Monday workspaces. These help organizations to manage multiple departments and projects in one unified place. It also allows managers to keep their teams laser focused only on the workspaces and projects that are relevant to them. Now, to create a new workspace, simply go to this three-dotted menu here, create workspace, and then you have either an open workspace or a closed workspace, which is only available with our enterprise plan. And it allows managers to add another level of permission to control who can access the workspace and what each team member can or cannot do in the workspace. In this case, as you probably imagined already, I already went ahead and created a workspace for us. It's called the marketing workspace. And I can easily customize this workspace, by the way, if I wanted to. Just simply go to manage workspace. You can quickly change the color here, change the icon according to your own taste. You can add team members, you can add teams, which you can create through the admin section. And you can also change the type of the workspace from maybe open to closed according to your needs. Now, under these workspaces, we have folders to keep things more organized, and we have Monday boards. Now, Monday boards or a Monday board, I would say, is one of the core components in mondaycom, and it's where our users build their workflows. In order to add a board, you can simply press this plus icon here. You can either choose from a wide variety of templates that we have for a lot of different business verticals, or whole solutions that we also have available for our customers, whether it's to use them as is or just draw some inspiration from those. You can import an Excel sheet easily or a Google sheet and convert it or transform it into a Monday board. And you can open your own board. And then there are three options that open up here. There's a main board, which is visible to anyone in the account. There are shareable boards, which are used for sharing a board with people outside of your team and company, such as maybe clients, contractors, interns, and more. And there's a private board, which can only be seen by the person who created the board and specific users that he or she invited to join that board. These are really good for projects that you might not be ready to share with the rest of the world yet, or boards that include confidential information. In this case, of course, to save us the time, we already prepared those boards in advance. So to connect you to the story of our workflow today, let's imagine that we're a global company that provides online marketing services to high-profile clients and some of the top brands around the world. Now, each one of those clients or internal stakeholders maybe in my organization that are working with these clients, let's say account managers, needs to streamline the way that they submit marketing requests, and for these requests to quickly be assigned to the right person and turn into actions. We also need these marketing requests to be executed properly and managed, and also tracked to make sure that we're meeting our deadline. So first thing that I want to see here is who's a member on this board? I see that right now, myself, Ophir, and Roi are members of this board. I can quickly go ahead and add anybody that I wanted to. I can also make Ophir by clicking, excuse me, this crown icon. I can make him what we call a board owner, in this case, a co-owner, where he can bypass a lot of the permissions in the board, which I'll show you later on. And also, we can see that we have this right pane over here for board guests, which means that this is a shareable board. You can see that we have 3 different groups here. We have new requests for new requests coming in, of course. We have working on it to show what's being worked on at any given point, and completed, which will show us which requests have been, of course, completed and finalized. Of course, these groups can be anything you'd like. These can be projects, project phases, weeks, months, and the list goes on and on. And each one of these groups is comprised of items, in this case, the marketing requests, and columns that help us to better capture and visualize all the data needed for our workflow. Now let's quickly go through these columns. We have a requester column, and I will show you soon how we can easily submit requests via our form functionality in monday.com. We have a priority column. You can easily edit the labels here. You can drag and drop. You can change their color according to your taste. There's the owner column. Let's quickly add maybe Ophir. And if I hover over my name, I can see 2 things here that are relevant for working from home. One, I can see who's active in the account. So if I'm a manager, I can quickly see who is active. Also, you can see this house icon over here, which is related to the work status that I showed you before, means that I'm currently working from home. So also good visibility for managers that need to know where their employees are currently located and where they're working from. We have this local time column, which I added here to know what is the time zone that each employee might be working with, so you'll know when to reach out. I also added a location column to know where that request is handled. Also, a cool thing that I wanted to show you here, if I quickly press this, it opens up this beautiful map view to show me that where that request is currently located. So if you're, as a joke, I would say this, of course, if you're weaker in geography, or you just want to get a quick glance of where that request is being handled, you can do that via the map. And you can also access the item straight from here instead of having to go back to the board and make changes. Other columns that I've added here that I think are interesting is the drop-down column to show us which account, which customer this is associated with. I added a type column to show us what kind of marketing request this is. You can see the options that we have here. I added a status column, which is aligned with our workflow to show us where we are at any given time. I added a deadline column to help us better meet our deadlines. And here I activated what we call the deadline mode. This gives me better visibility of where I am against my deadline. So in this case, I can see that it's actually September. This is due on September 3rd. It's still unreceived. We're not working on it. This should probably raise some questions. I probably want to check with the request owner here what's going on. I also added a timeline column, which will better represent how long a team or person has to complete an item or a project. If I quickly press this bar over here, I can make quick changes to my timeline. Also for project managers, I can set the end date here as a milestone. Good for complex projects. And if I wanted to quickly view this in a timeline mode, I can do that. Look how beautiful that is. It's broken down by employee. I can quickly drag and drop from here. I can quickly change the timeline. I can watch it in Gantt mode or not. I can quickly open a card here of the item to make changes straight from here without going back to my board. I can look at it in split view with my board underneath. So there's a lot of different things that I can do here according to my needs. Again, going back to my main board here. Other things that I added here. I did add an estimated time column. So this is actually a formula column in which I inserted predetermined estimated times for each type of task by using a single formula with our if function. I won't have time to go into it now. A formula column is a very powerful column in monday.com. Long story short, if the type of task is logo, you can see that an estimated time of 20 hours will automatically be populated in the column. This might have to do with some billing that you might have to do for the customer later on. Perhaps you gave him an estimated time in advance. Perhaps you have some predefined estimated times internally. It's all up to you. I have a time tracking column. I can easily press play here to start tracking the time that it took me to complete each task. I can press stop at any time to accommodate for maybe breaks, time off, things of that sort. I have an actual time column, which simply converts the time tracking column into hours. And I'll show you how later on it helps me to do better reporting. Also added an overtime column to show me how much time we have left against our estimated time. In this case, you can see I started it. We have still enough time. And if it was in plus, it means that I'm overtime. Also, I added a link to project board. I will come back to that later on. I'll show you how the social media team can better manage projects that are coming in from this marketing request board. I also added a mirror column. In this case, it allows me to see and edit information on the other board. If I wanted to also quickly access the linked item in this case, I can do it from here and make changes from here to the other board. Now, if I wanted to quickly add a column, just go to this plus icon here, choose from some default options, or open a whole world of opportunities in our column center according to your changing needs. Now, you're probably asking yourself, this is great, but how do I submit these marketing requests? How can a client or internal stakeholder quickly submit the marketing request, and how can we make that into actionable items? So at Monday, we're really obsessed with saving you time, and thanks to the monday.com forms, which can be accessed from our views section right here, you can turn meaningful data into actionable items without having to lift a finger. In this case, I already created a request form for us to save us some time here. This is what it looks like. And this is actually aligned with the structure of our board, right? The same columns that you saw are going to appear in the form. From here, you can go ahead and change the names displayed here for each column. You can add a brief description. You can quickly check only the columns that you need for the form. You can hide those that you don't need there. You can change the logo here. You can change the color according to your taste, and it's also very it's that customizable. And also on the left side, the right side, excuse me, if you wanted to, you can add a quick success message, which you can also customize to your own needs. So once the form will be submitted successfully, this pop-up message will appear. And if I wanted to quickly share this form, I have a shareable link that I can share anywhere, or I can quickly get a code that could be embedded on any landing page on my website. If I quickly show you a preview of what that looks like, let's say that this is an Instagram campaign. Let's say that my name is Jamie. Priority, let's say, is medium. The account, let's say, is Daredevil Bikes. Let's say this is a social media request. We are in, let's say it's for September, I don't know, 10th. And you can add any additional information that you might want to. Here's my success message. Now going back to my board, as you'll be able to see, an item was automatically created with all the information that I inserted in the form. And I can quickly go ahead and fill in the rest as I see fit. And also another cool thing, if I quickly refresh here, as you can see, I was automatically assigned to this item. Now, this was created by a simple automation that I created using our automation center. Automations allow you to automate much of the manual work related to your workflow and project in monday.com. If I quickly go to my automation center, you can see that if the type changes to social media, quickly assign Roy to the task as the owner. And not only that, when a new item is created, notify me. It could be myself, it could be a manager, to quickly get a notification that a new task was created. And you can see that I got a notification, what we call the notification bell, that a new task has been created here. Now, from here, I can start working on the request. Let's say it's added to receive, put in received, and I actually created 2 additional automations for us to help us progress with handling this marketing request, where if I turn this, if I change the status, excuse me, to working on it, it will automatically drop, as you see, to the working on it group. And if I change it to done, it will quickly drop to the completed section. I didn't have to lift a finger here, and it's completely aligned with the various stages of handling the marketing request. Now let's assume that I only wanted to see what Ophir is assigned to at a quick glance on this board. There's a few ways to filter in monday.com. I can either quickly type his name and see what he's assigned to, but there's not much I can do from here. Another way of doing this is going to this person icon, checking Ophir, and, excuse me, I forgot to show you, you can save that as a view now. And if I wanted more granular options to do filtering, I can go to this tornado-shaped icon as well. Let's say I wanted to see only Ophir, and let's say I wanted to see only what's on status received. And I can also save that as a view. For now, I will clear it and go back to my board. Now, of course, as a manager or team member, I need to have the ability to create various views, which will allow me to only consume the data on this board, which matters to me. If I quickly go back to our view section, as you saw before, you have your default options, or if you go to our view center, a lot of other opportunities that you can choose from. In this case, I created some quick examples for us. So remember when I showed you the formula column that converts the time tracking into the actual time? This is going to be very useful in creating something like estimated versus actual time spent on each one of these requests. This is our chart column. It's one of the most used views, I would say, in monday.com today, the board views. It's very customizable. You could choose any kind of chart that you want. On the x-axis, in this case, I have my marketing campaigns. I chose the relevant columns in the y-axis, estimated versus actual. So you can see here that this was the estimated time, and this is the actual time that it took me to complete the task. You can also add a benchmark line, choose its color, do it in split view, as we saw before, change it to dark mode, all according to your needs. Another cool thing that I added here is a pie chart to show us the percentage of tasks by their priority. Another useful way of looking at your data. With that said, as I mentioned earlier, guys, I created another board which is called our social media projects board, which will allow the social media team to better manage the various marketing requests and projects that are under their responsibility. I have the link to that board already to make things easier for me. And here it is. Now, to quickly explain what I did here, to explain the structure, first of all of these marketing requests are aligned with the main marketing requests board. We added an owners column. We added a channel column to see what social media channel we're dealing with. Also, I broke this down into different phases of handling a marketing request until it actually goes live. It's all done by status columns. So in this case, it'll first need to go through the creative team, then the messaging will be created, then it'll go through the design team, and then it will go back to the owner to approve it and basically make it go live. I also added a progress column here, which allows me to basically combine these status columns and track the progress of this task. So if I go to the column settings here quickly, it actually shows me that I can select the weight that each status column will have on my progress, right? In this situation, I wanted it to be distributed equally, but I can change the weight of each one of those phases according to my own needs and how meaningful each one of these phases might be in my process. I also added a link to my marketing requests board, which also allows me to quickly add another mirror column to be able to better track the time straight from here straight from this social media projects board. And this mirror column can be both edited and seen from here, but it's also reflected on my main marketing request board. So anything that's done here will be seen on my main board. And also another way of doing this, again, as I showed you before, is quickly opening the link from here. And you can access this card and make changes to the linked item in the main board straight from here. Other columns that I added here, just really quickly, is the files column to really centralize all the documentation related to each one of those marketing requests in one place. And I also added a link column to show us the final result, a link to the final campaign that's been published. Now, with employees working remotely today and teams or departments sometimes being globally dispersed, communication is really crucial to an organization's ability to move forward quickly. And Monday can really improve that aspect as it allows communication in context, not just general communication, but communication in context. If I simply press this bubble here, I can ask Ophir, for example, what's the current status? I can add a file from my computer, Google Drive, Dropbox, and the list goes on and on. I can add an emoji or GIF to make it fun. And if I quickly press update here, now Ophir will get a notification in two places. One in the notification bell, if he's now on another board and maybe not seeing this, and if he's, of course, in Monday. And if enabled, also a notification via email to see it in his queue, and he can quickly access Monday from there. And we can start a communication in this update section. And this is how we start communicating across the team and across various departments, assuming that they have access to this board. Straight from here, we don't need to be all over the place, emails, meetings, and various collaboration communication tools. Another cool thing that we can do, since we broke this down into different phases, is communicate in the context of a specific phase. So you can see that if I quickly put my mouse over here, this doggy ear comes down, it folds down, and I can press it here and actually start a communication in the context here. So I can mention the creative team and ask them what's going on if I need an update. That's how easy it can be on monday.com to communicate inside your team and across various departments, wherever they may be in the world. So say goodbye to endless meetings, email threads, or communication out of context in maybe some of your communication collaboration tools. Instead, you can have it all in monday.com to keep everyone on the same page and boost better efficiency. Another thing that I forgot to show you guys before, I actually added two additional automations here. One that will notify the next team or the next person in charge every time I move one of these statuses to done. So this will actually, this is supposed to send me a notification. Perhaps if I refresh, it might take some time now. And also, if I move this to stuck, it will notify the board owner, the request owner, that this request is stuck, and he can go ahead and request a quick update from whoever's managing this. You can see the notifications. The design, in this case, before was ready, now it's stuck, and I can go ahead and get a quick update from whoever is managing this specific phase. Additional board options that I think are worth keeping in mind, you can find here from this three-dotted menu. So if I quickly go to more actions, you can see that you can put this on full screen, you could duplicate a board, you can export it to Excel, delete or archive a board, and also there are the board permissions. I think it's worth mentioning that in Monday, you have a few levels of permissions. One is at the board level, the other is at the column level. You have also permissions at the account level, and you have the permissions at the workspace level. I'll quickly show you that. We don't have enough time to go into detail, but in the board permissions, you can access it from here. So in this case, first of all, you see that a board owner can do everything on this board and bypass all of these permissions. And you can see that there are different levels of permissions here from the most strict, which is view only, and all the way up to edit everything, which allows board subscribers to basically collaborate on all aspects of the board. We also have permissions at the column level, as I mentioned before. I can restrict column edit, restrict column view, whatever the case may be, and only people that will be added will now be able to view this column. And I have the account permissions, which I wanted to quickly show you as well. Here, first of all, this is only available with our enterprise plan. I just want to be clear about that. And here, admins in the account can restrict things like maybe uploading files. It could be adding boards, enabling integrations and automations, exporting data to Excel, etc., etc. And also, as I showed you before, there are workspace permissions. This helps you to add another layer of permissions, and when switched to a closed workspace, team members must be added by a workspace owner in order to access the boards inside. This can be really valuable, I think, for companies to keep things more organized across the account and to save you a lot of manual effort that's involved in adding people to many specific private boards. And instead, you can give them access to this workspace, and it will give them access to all the boards inside. Other things that I wanted to quickly mention, one is the integration center. So integrations help you to integrate a lot of your favorite business applications to monday.com and add them to your workflow. Basically make monday.com as a centralized hub or your sole source of truth if you wanted to, but also to add these applications to the workflow. If you still love using them, that's fine. I think some integrations which are great to mention in the context of working remotely are integrations with Zoom, Slack, and MS Teams. With Zoom, you can actually quickly start a Zoom meeting with a click of a button, so you can share the Zoom link with one of your colleagues and start the call straight from here. You can see with this icon that my board is already integrated with Zoom. You can also easily sync the meeting details and notify someone if a meeting started, and do things like take notes, plan action items, and come up with key takeaways in the context of a specific task or project. There's also the Slack integration, which allows you to sync conversations across both platforms and send notifications and updates to Slack, either to a channel or specific user. And the last but not least, as I mentioned, we have our brand new MS Teams integration, which can allow you to do things like embed maybe your Monday boards and views inside of Teams channels and chats. It can do things like receive notifications from Monday inside MS Teams, search and share relevant Monday boards and items in the context of an MS Team conversation. So if you love using MS Teams and you want to keep using it frequently in your day-to-day, you can now visualize Monday boards inside MS Teams and take action straight from there. Aside from these integrations, which I showed you before, if you can't see an option that's relevant for you, we also have an open API to integrate monday.com with other tools or apps which are not part of this list. And we also recently launched our Monday Apps Framework, which extends developers' capabilities to create custom applications and integrations on top of the Monday platform. Last thing, guys, that I wanted to show you today before we open it up for questions is what we call our Monday dashboards. So some of you might be telling themselves, look, these are only a few boards, but how can teams and execs keep up with many of these boards and get a quick glance of what's going on at any given time across the account? So for that purpose, exactly, we have the Monday dashboards. And the dashboards are a really great way to display what's important in just one place. This is where management and remote team members can quickly understand at a glance what's going on across all boards in the account. And in case I wanted to create a new dashboard, it can be done from here. The UI might change soon, just giving you guys a heads up. But for now, it's here. And in this case, I already went ahead and created a dashboard for us. Look how pretty that is. Let's quickly put that on TV mode. Let's see if it'll give me the full view. There it is. Actually, it won't let me customize it, so I'll switch it back, but it's possible. Look how pretty that was. So let's quickly go through the widgets that I have here. First of all, if you wanted to add a widget, you can do it simply by, I'll show you that again, simply by pressing Edit choose one of the customizable widgets that we have either as the default options or from our dashboard center. And to show you some of the widgets that I prepared in advance for us here, the first one is the workload widget. So this widget can show you in a quick glance who's busy and who's available to quickly rebalance their work and do proper resource allocation. It's highly customizable. If I quickly go to the settings, I can choose the relevant board. I can add more if needed to. I can pull information or roll up information from multiple boards here. I can choose the also the effort and capacity. In this case, I decided to count items, and I set the max capacity per week for 4. So this basically means that each one of these employees listed here can work on a max of 4 marketing requests per week. And the more requests they work on with that capacity in mind, the fuller the circle will get. If they're over capacity, the circle will become red. If I quickly go back to my dashboard, if I hover over one of these circles, first of all, I can see now Ophir's marketing requests, the requests that are part of this week. And if I quickly press this, it opens up the requests themselves. I can quickly make changes from here, drag and drop, make sure that I rebalance Ophir's work to make sure that he's not overworked. And I can also open the ticket card here, the item card here, excuse me, to make changes straight from the widget. I also added a time tracking column to see every person's overall time spent on items that he or she is working on. I also added the estimated time versus actual time here. Same concept as the board, only this time the chart can pull information from multiple boards if needed to. I have the battery widget, which basically aggregates all the status columns of your choice across multiple boards. And this will allow managers to get a quick glance of the overall progress of their team and their projects across multiple boards. And if I just click on one of these statuses, excuse me, it gives me a drill down, a nice drill down of all the items that are aggregated here across all the boards. It's really pretty, isn't it? In the context of working from home, let me just do a quick refresh here because I see it's not showing. And I do apologize for that. In the context of working from home, I also have my working status. I told you before that I will show you how you can quickly do reporting based on that as well. So here you can quickly see the work statuses of all the employees or teams chosen. It's really great for managers to quickly see how many team members are now working from home or maybe from the office, whatever the work status might be. And last but not least, I created a timeline widget, which is sorted now by weeks. And it shows me the timeline by marketing request. And from here, I can also go ahead and make changes. I can access an item and make changes straight from my dashboard. With that said, guys, thank you for listening, and let's open it up for some questions.
Thanks, Roy. That was really great demo. Thanks a million for that. I guess you got time for a quick glass of water now after all that talking. So a couple of questions that we've had a couple there which I've answered during the thing. We've got a couple more questions that have come up in the meantime. A few questions about calendars, and I think you've shown the various different calendar views that there are and how we can display those and display the tasks and projects on them. But also then a question in terms of syncing calendars, and can we sync monday.com with other calendars?
Yes, you absolutely can. We're not going to have a lot of time to show it now, but you absolutely can. You can sync it with your Google Calendar. You can sync it with Outlook. You can add timelines in there, and you can absolutely do that. We also have My Focus now, so straight from your mobile, you can sync Monday with your calendar quickly. So it will quickly show your personal tasks and your work-related tasks, and access those tasks straight from there. So it'll be easier for maybe employees or managers that are on the ground to have quick access to Monday through our mobile application. So you can absolutely do that. The answer is yes.
Okay, excellent. And then a couple more kind of integration related questions then as well. So does monday.com integrate with Salesforce?
Yes, monday.com integrates with Salesforce. And the great news, I think, is we're working now towards a two-way sync, which will basically allow to create and update an item, for example, from monday.com, which will then change an object of your choice in Salesforce and vice versa. And I think, as you mentioned before, monday.com really shines when it comes, we're not necessarily looking to replace your CRM, but by the way, Monday can be great for pipeline and lead management, but anything that's post-sale and that's project related, we can sync the two, create a workflow that from the sale, you jump straight into the project execution and delivery, just like Martin said before. So that is possible, and ProvidentCRM can absolutely help you with that.
Great, thanks, Roy. One more then, just we're kind of running out of time, but just while we're all here, does Monday integrate with Microsoft Teams?
Yes, it absolutely does. So I showed that before, and we now have a new application available on the Microsoft Store. And again, it helps you to visualize your Monday boards in MS Teams and take actions straight from there, but also send notifications from monday.com to MS Teams, so it's a two-way sync. If you love using MS Teams, we have a great strategic partnership with Microsoft, and we're only going to deepen those integrations going forward. We are more than happy to see how we can build a workflow that includes both.
Okay, great. Just a further question then, this just popped up there at the moment as well about processes and so on. How can we manage sub-processes or sub-steps in a process? So we've got a process which, you know, how we manage the smaller items that make up that process.
Absolutely. Actually, I can show that one quickly. Can you still see my screen, guys?
Yeah, we can, yeah.
Absolutely. So here you have what we call the Monday subtasks or sub-items. And this is how you can easily do that. So this is the mother item here, and then you have the subtasks, and you can quickly break that down into sub-items. Another cool, way to do that is actually have a high-level board of only your marketing requests, and maybe break it down into a separate board, which will be a low-level board, which will be the actual tasks that are related to your marketing requests, and then we could link those boards and make sure that it's a workflow that works well for your team. And also, if it's just a simple kind of, you know, a few steps that you might need to open per task, you can also do that through the update section. You can quickly create a checklist here. Excuse me. So let's do an example. And there's also the subtask here. But I'd say for more complex projects, sub-items is definitely a good way to go.
Excellent. Okay, that's cool. Another one just around security. So in terms of IT departments and how we satisfy them in terms of security of the application, if they're uploading data into monday.com, and how we can answer that request.
So the question is around what security and control we provide with Monday.
Exactly. Exactly. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So Monday is definitely enterprise grade when it comes to security. You have things like two-factor authentication, Google authentication. If you're a G Suite house, it integrates with your single sign-on solutions like Okta, OneLogin, Azure Active Directory, or your custom SAML. We have skim provisioning for better user provisioning. We have audit log, the audit log, which is also available. We have session management with also a panic button. If someone's credentials have been compromised, we're HIPAA compliant. We have integration permissions, private workspaces. We have the advanced account permissions that I told you about before. And we're also working towards having bring your own key capabilities and DLP, which will also be available in the future. And that's something that we are working tirelessly towards. Hopefully that will be released soon. So we are definitely enterprise grade when it comes to security with monday.com.
Yeah, and certainly I know if anybody's got any questions, more detailed questions in terms of security, we can provide all that backup and documentation around that. We can satisfy most IT requests about that. I guess one final one, Roy, just I'm conscious of time. Are there any data storage limits if we're uploading files into Monday? How do we manage that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that would depend on depend on the plan, but I would say, look, if you're using our enterprise plan, you have up to 1,000 gigabytes of storage in terms of file storage. So I think you're covered there. And if we need some more, we can always discuss it on a case-by-case basis and see how we can solve that. But yes, if you're gonna upload a lot of files into monday.com and you're gonna use this as a centralized place for a lot of heavy files, I would recommend definitely going with our enterprise plan. And I don't think it's gonna be limiting in that sense.
Listen, Roy, I think we better draw to a close there. Thanks a million for your time. Obviously, if anybody does have any further questions over and beyond what we've addressed today, please get in contact. That's my email address there on the screen. I'll do my best to answer your questions and bring Roy in if I can't find the answers for you. And I hope that's been useful. Roy, thanks again for your time. Thanks everybody for attending.
Thank you, guys.
We will send on the recording to those people who've registered, so look out for that. And thanks again for your time.
Ciao, guys. Stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.